Hey, Dr. Derek here. So, I've lost about 35 pounds in the past 6 months, but I'm not stopping there. You see, I'm pushing further, and I want to tell you a little bit why, and actually why I'm doing this. Why am I pushing further although I've lost so much body fat? Now, I want to get a bit personal with you and tell you about a discussion I had with my wife um, the other day. She was basically saying to me that, look, Derek, you have reached your goal. You've lost so much weight. You've improved your health. Why are you pushing even further? Why are you trying to do this? And it really got me to reflect, you know, why am I doing this? Am I doing it just for looks? Because then that becomes really superficial. It comes really, surface. And, I've mentioned on the channel before that my fat loss journey was really more for health. So it got me to reflect this discussion. I was thinking, if you try and do anything for the superficial reasons just to look good, then that actually has an impact on, the meaning of it. How meaningful is it to you, to your life? So that got me thinking a bit, and that's why I'm making this video today actually, because why am I pushing further although I've lost all that body fat? So I thought I'd go through the framework that I'm going through now to help you, because I realized that there's actually a deeper reason for that, because it's all about a sustainable body. I want to keep the shape I'm in right now for the rest of my life. So I realized that in order to do that, I'll need to get to a point where I push even further so that, I've got more flexibility in kind of eating what I want to eat and being as active as I want to. And even if I had that flexibility, if I did put on some weight, then I could say to myself that the shape I'm in now will be the worst shape that I'm in. I hope that makes sense to you. So I think when you frame it that way, it makes pushing further past your goals even make more sense, because health is more than just a number. And people might follow these fad diets, these short-term diets, but it's really about what's sustainable and what will keep you for the rest of your life. And that's my mindset basically. So that's where reverse dieting comes in. So I thought it would be good to explain a bit more about reverse dieting and how that allows you to reach a sustainable shape, because basically what I've done during this fat loss phase, this body transformation of mine, some people will basically, maybe go on a muscle building phase after, or maybe try and lose more fat. But I'm being really strategic about it, because at the end of the day, why do we lose weight? Why do we lose body fat? It's deeper than just looking good. For me, it was to have more time with my family, to have more energy around my family. The most important thing was to improve my health, because that was suffering when I had all that body fat as well. So, when you realize that, and especially the family time, I realized that, obviously, the deeper you get into fat loss phase, the more time you're spending on your cardio. So for me, that's my step count, the more time that you spend in the gym and all that kind of stuff. But I've got other interests outside the gym and looking good. So I know that I want to get to a point where I could maybe keep this body shape I'm in for the rest of my life, but with very little effort. And in order to do that, you have to go through, a reverse diet phase. This is basically where you essentially slowly increase your calories, but you do it in a way that lets your metabolism catch up. So when you do it in a slow way, it helps to prevent your weight gain when you start eating more. I'll give you an example. So at the moment, I'm only on 1,700 calories a day. So that's how much I'm eating. I roughly weigh about 86 kilograms. And I was about 105 kilograms when I started, and I was on 2,400 calories. That's how much I was on. So can you imagine how incredible it will be for me to be able to eat 2,400 calories but still stay at this weight at 86 kilograms? Can you imagine that? That's just my dream. But on top of that as well, I'm doing 14,000 steps a day. And that's kind of like my limit, because I'm a GP, I'm a family guy. I've got stuff with my girls that I've got to do. Obviously, I'm a husband, and my wife's really, really helping me out with this stuff. Anything I achieve is really, a lot of it is down to her. So yeah, there's a lot of time commitment. So can you imagine how incredible it would be if I can eat the calories I was eating when I was so much more heavy than I am now, but also the activity levels, drop my steps from 14k to like 8k and all that kind of stuff, and still be able to keep the same shape. That just sounds incredible to me. So that's why I'm talking about it being sustainable. I'm not pushing further because I want to be a supermodel or be on a magazine cover. I'm pushing further because it allows me to be sustainable for the future. And I think it's really setting yourself up to maintain that weight loss. So yeah, that reflection got me to think that this is the path I'm in. I thought it will help you as well. When you frame your goals, your body goals, your fat loss goals, really think about how you make it sustainable and how you get it to, be something that you keep for years, and stop going for those kind of shortcuts. So I guess I want to mention about the small wins, because the small wins in this journey are just as important as the big ones. So it's not always about just losing more weight. It's about feeling confident, feeling confident in my skin, being able to enjoy food, and not really stressing out about, every meal or step. Because one thing that maybe you might not see a lot of people talk about is that when the body fat gets really low, your relationship with food changes, because every calorie is basically just fighting. It's essentially what it is. So like every single calorie in your meal is kind of fighting for that energy. So because you're on very low calories. So I want to get to the stage where, I won't say I have an unhealthy relationship with food, but because I've got a target to reach, is to a point where, I'll give you an example. A lot of my meals are very tasty, but I know that 4 months ago I had the same type of meals, but they were a lot more tastier, had more fats, had more carbs and stuff like that. So I do miss that kind of stuff, really. So that's what it's about, really. How you build that in. What is like, what's the bigger picture, which is basically, building that lifestyle, not just reaching a goal. It's about sustainability and stuff like that. So yeah, I think, I hope you found this helpful. I thought, it'd be actually good for you to learn a bit more about my journey, but maybe a bit about a reverse diet, because, that's not a term that I was used to before. Reverse dieting, but that's what I'll be doing. If you want to know about a bit more about that, please follow me in my journey. I'm trying to make more of these videos these days where I'm a bit more open, just so you can see kind of real life examples of a journey and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you subscribe, stay tuned, and yeah, I look forward to the next one.